is one of my all time favorite topics. Let's talk about it. Making life fun and exciting and working in your inner world. Because let's be for real, out there, things can get wild, okay? We do have some intense transits in the sky as we are slowly getting closer and closer to that. Some people call it basket, some people call it, there's so different terms for it, but pretty much as the big modern planets are adjusting themselves, dancing the vows, dancing their little choreography that probably waited so long to be able to get to that point. And things are tight. You could feel those tight ankles, those early beginning, this new energy, this WTH is going on. So, all this to say that one way that we can counter this chaotic feeling that we often feel out there is by turning inside, turning inwards, and it's pretty much by nourishing your inner world so aggressively. And that really, I think that is really the trick and that is the secret of it all. And the inner world to me is such a fascinating, it's such a beautiful refuge. Do we say refuge in English? I'm thinking about the French word refuge. I forget if it's also in English. I'm telling you, my brain is just, sometimes it's just mixing all the languages together. But you get what I mean, right? Let's just say sanctuary for now, as I'm having major brain, like. So having a rich inner world, I find it such a satisfying quest. It's a very intimate relationship with yourself, and I also believe subsequently with God. Because the concept of God is just so far away from what most of us were drilled, as kids. It's literally this. It can also be, it's not just one thing, it can be so many things. It can also be this ongoing relationship you have with the divine, which is in everything. One of the recent class I attended in my Kabbalah studies was with my amazing teacher, Yehuda, Yehuda Yeshurun. This guy is such an outstanding, wow, absolutely love him. And the class really, now I'm thinking it's probably the one of the major inspire. Oh gosh, we can't speak today. Why is it French? It's just the only thing that keeps coming into my brain today. We're gonna get through this episode. He was definitely the inspiration on the subconscious level because I didn't realize this until right now. And then he said something in class how we need to really start practicing seeing the light in everything. Not only when we're doing something quote unquote spiritual, but in everything, right? The interaction that you're having with this person, this food that you're eating, the music you're listening to. And he was challenging us. Imagine what life could be if we start seeing the light in everything and we engage it with that level of awness, right? And and now I'm thinking about that. That's exactly what we're doing when we are nourishing our inner world. And I just wanted, I love this type of episodes that I do where we're just talking about daily life, daily stuff, and making it practical because I don't want to make this like a theoretical, spiritual, you know, concepts. I love to talk about these, but that's not the purpose of today's episode. I really wanted to ground this, and I think this is really an important thing, especially for my singles. Of course, this also applies to people in relationship who are married because I know a lot of people in marriage and partnership can also feel lonely. So no one has the monopoly on loneliness here. But I have a special little thing for my singles Because a lot of time it's very easy to slip into this feeling like you are an unrooted leaf just drifting through, you know, the ether. I'm being dramatic today. But I think this is such a great antidote. It's focusing on your inner world. Yes, of course, I can be in shadow work and all of that stuff we do. That can be heavy sometimes, but also joy is equally important. And I think this is beautiful that we're having this talk as I mentioned in the previous episode. In Kabbalah, we've already entered right now. We are in the month of Leo. It's always about a week. I'd say about a week difference. So we always end up, because in Kabbalah we're following the lunar, it's purely the lunar cycle, and then every few years then we would adjust the things, kind of like we don't get too crazy further ahead, because every few years you would have 2 month of Pisces. That way we always stay not too far away from the regular calendar, but we're following the lunar calendar, which is why we're already in the cycle of Leo right now, and we're no longer in Cancer. But anyways, I don't even want us to get hung up on that, because it doesn't matter, whatever works for you. But I feel like the energy is different. It's crazy. Because in my head right now, this is Leo. I could feel the Leo energy is just very, very different from the Cancer energy. And if we're focusing on Leo as the archetype, right, as the symbolism for this episode today, what we're talking about fits in, right? This encouraging us to have a rich inner world. Leo is all about passion, fire, creativity, opening our heart to ourselves, to others. And this is what I like us to do and focus and implementing on our life, this cycle, right? And it's not about being perfect. It's about how can you make it just a little bit better? How can you add a little bit more spark? And I wanted to give tangible answers, right? Tangible inspiration, things to like brainstorm and help inspire you. For example, for me, it's like my schedule, right? You could build a schedule. I don't know if you like a schedule freak like myself, but we all have a schedule, whether it's very organized or it's a bit more chaotic. We're all operating on certain routines and a certain flow. So find a way to instill a bit more fun in it, right? I don't know. Is this something you always wanted to do that you didn't do yet, or you haven't had the chance to do? I'm not talking about something crazy like bungee jumping. Of course, if you want to do that, go ahead. But I'm talking about more like everyday mundane stuff, right? Like maybe there's a course you always wanted to take but you never took it. Now could be a good time to look into that. We're so grateful. I think that's one of the greatest gift of the pandemic we went through, which was absolutely horrible. But one of the greatest gift that came out of this period was online just took a whole other expansion, right? Like Zoom. Could you imagine Zoom? None of us could have imagined Zoom 10 years ago. I mean, yeah, we could imagine it, but we didn't know how world was gonna be so have so much Zoom in it. And Zoom doesn't just have to be boring work meeting. It can be fun. I love Zoom, and I have so many classes that I take, and then I finally realized that the most exciting part for me in those classes are the live meeting. So the live meeting that everyone comes up from like all around the world, and then here we are in this crazy, what is it? Is it like a spaceship? I don't know. What is it? Like this box. Where is this box? This internet room that connects all of us. I could be in Australia. You could be in China. Our next friend could be in Russia. And another person could be in Hawaii. And we're all connected. One person is in the past, another person is in the future, and we're all connected at the same moment. Where? Nobody knows where we are exactly, but that Zoom room just connects all of us together. Gosh, I'm getting goosebumps just talking about this. That's what I mean. It's just like when I'm always talking about everything is energy. It's like, all right, let's come back. This, I always say, this is why my soul came back. My soul, this in this generation, reincarnated to experience all of this crazy technology and for the internet. I always say that my soul came back for Zoom and for the internet because it's crazy how my entire life is so online, has so much online component. Anyways, I digress. So, yeah, what else could you bring in your life to make it a little bit more fun? And I'm obsessed with focusing on bringing the fun, elevating our life with the mundane. Not so mundane, turns out. But what I'm trying to say is that let's remove the emphasis and the importance on, yeah, of course they're fun, but let's remove the heavy weight on the yearly vacation to Fiji. You know what I mean? Or your I should say your honeymoon in Fiji instead. But because this happens once in a lifetime type of occasion, right? But let's focus on the stuff we do every day. Like for example, me, my bath routine, my hygiene routine in the shower every morning, every night. Sometimes I do it even more. But it's a spa time, right? With the candles, lit room, turn on, like light up some candles. Even if I only have 5 minutes, I'm in a rush. It's getting done 90% of the time, right? Play some nice music, light up some Palo Santo stick real quick. It doesn't have to take forever. Yeah, when I have 20 minutes, it's great. But if I only have 5 minutes, then it's taking 5 minutes. But I promise you this little moment because how many showers? Did you ever think about how many showers do you take in a lifetime? Gosh, I never calculated it, but I'm gonna go down that rabbit hole the second I'm done recording this. Now, can you imagine? There's 365 days in a year, assuming you showering 2 times a day, even once, it's already like a few hundred showers, or like that's almost close to 1,000, like right, 700 showers. Can you imagine if you spend 5 minutes each of these 700 times? How much? This is what I mean by we need to bring the magic in the mundane. And anyways, I'm just fascinated by this, right? So that's what I wanted to talk about. Add things, find ways to add things that light you up. And also, when you start lighting up, you start contributing to the world in ways that you don't even understand. Your light is just shining the path for others, and your light is helping lit up the light of others. Think about, you know, when you take one candle and then you can light, how many candles can you light up from one candle? Unlimited amount of candles, right? I don't know if any one of you guys grew up going to church, or even seeing in those movies in that area where you have a lot of candles where people are praying, and then one person takes a candle and then lights up another candle. That first candle didn't diminish, right? And that first candle could light up a million candles and still not diminish. So, in a way, this is how we're supposed to operate as human being. When we add more passion, that fire, that intense desire is gonna start guiding us through life. And I think this is also how, ironically, we avoid having this crazy we avoid having this crazy you- existential, of course you might still have your existential crisis for like whatever other reason, right, other trances that you're going through, but we avoid having this emptiness of what is my purpose in life, or this purpose heavy purpose talk that so many people experience in their lives, by always finding ways to listen to yourself, connect with yourself, see what lights you up, and doing your best to follow that. We're not talking about being irresponsible, quitting your job and selling everything, and travel around the world with no money to pay for your bills. That's not what we're talking about here. But like we said, finding ways to bring in the passion in your daily life, to follow your dreams, your passion, not being scared of that. That can be a course that you always wanted to take. That can be some hobbies that light you up. And then when you are in that place, that space, you operating with an open heart, that's when you become so magnetic and you start pulling everything towards you. Isn't that always what we see, what we hear all the time from those stories? And then some other person says, well, I didn't care about dating anymore because I was so sick and tired of it. I decided to focus on myself, and then I was having the best time of my life. And all of a sudden, my soulmate walked into my life. Oh, and we like always hearing these stories, right? Or I was just doing this one thing, and the next thing you know, this is how my business was born. So, what we need to take from this is following that passion, doing our best to add those sparks in our life opens our heart so wide. And then this is when we become magnetic, ironically, and we start people are so drawn to magnetic people, right? Why don't we like to hang out around people that are complaining all the time and not really breath? Because we are emitting a certain energetic signal. Our aura, all of us, we have a certain horrific field. The aura that we carry, it's pretty much that energy that we can see it. Many of us are very attuned to feeling it, right? And but we all have that. Everything have it. All the objects have it. It's the energy envelope that pretty much enrobes everything. It's the same reason why when you are about to walk in a dark alley, you decide you get the chills and you don't like the energy you're getting from this dark alley, and then you decide to take another road. That's what we're talking about. When you meet someone new, that person gives you a weird feeling and you choose not to just pursue a friendship with them. That's what we're bumping into. It's our energetic field. So by opening our heart and by following our dreams more, by adding more passion, more spark in our inner life, in our inner world, in our schedule, in our day to day, we actually, without even focusing on it, we are increasing our own horrific field and our own aura, and we are pretty much we become more magnetic, and that's how we start attracting so many amazing things in our life. So that's what I wanted to say today. And also, what else did I want to say about that? Yes, and I do believe it's our internal compass. Connecting to our heart, it's our internal compass. So many of us, we wonder, oh, how do we do that? That's how you do that. You know when you're doing something that you don't feel like doing, and when you're doing something else that lights you up. We all know that. We all know the feeling, right? So that's what I wanted to encourage all of us to find ways to bring up some passion in our schedule. For example, that could be through a lot of things. Like I said, I give try my best to give tangible example because I like to ground the spirituality with practical stuff. Right. It could be like adding a course you always wanted to do. Doesn't have to be a grandiose course. Be it doesn't have to be something for you to hustle later, right? We need to prioritize fun also, self-development, not shadow work, but your self-development. If that's a painting course you wanted to do, take that painting course, right? If that is a Spanish lessons you want to take on italki or whatever, this is not affiliated, by the way. I just use them because was using them since decades ago, and I still use them because that's the kind of person I am. And yeah, I take Spanish courses on there, take Russian courses. I don't know, like I literally I had my Russian class this morning with my beautiful teacher, Oksana. Absolutely love it. I realized that it's not even about the language that much. I just enjoy hanging out with her. We talk about culture and it's so much fun. And I literally cannot wait for this day to come for me to see her, right, on Zoom. And I don't know, like I said, Spanish already, any music course you always wanted to take, any sports you like, pole dancing, hoop, aerial sport, because I'm really into these. Of course, I'm biased in mentioning them first. Martial arts, dancing, tap dancing. I met a girl that was doing tap dancing when I was in Georgia, Caucasus, and when she would talk about tap dancing, her entire world lit up. And I was just like, oh my God, tell me more about it. I want to know, because there was so much beautiful light that was coming out of her when she's talking to me, when she was talking about her tap dancing, and so many just cool stuff you always wanted to learn. Whatever, just follow your dreams. This, and also Jupiter in Leo, is all about that. This episode's gonna come out, the Jupiter in Leo. Be on the lookout for that. On that note, my love, if you're having a hard time discovering how to bring passion into your life, or what lights you up, even your birth chart, by the way, is screaming, can point you towards what's best for you. It's all there. Come and see me. We could review that together and help you bring some passion in your life. So, all of my links for my sessions are in the description field down below. On that note, my love, keep shining bright like a diamond, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.